What if everything you've been told about success is only half the story? Imagine standing at the edge of your mental struggles, the anxiety, the self-doubt, the endless questions about worth. Then suddenly, a path opens toward financial freedom. Charlie Kirk isn't giving you a generic roadmap. He's challenging the beliefs that keep you small, urging you to confront the discomfort, the tension, the inner conflicts that define your life. This is not just advice. It's a mirror reflecting your potential, your fears, and the courage required to step beyond them. Are you ready to face it? You know, the hardest part about life isn't the world around you, it's the world inside your own mind. Every one of us has a mental struggle, whether we admit it or not. Anxiety, doubt, fear, insecurity, they creep in quietly, convincing you that you're not enough, that you're behind, that everyone else has it all figured out while you're barely treading water. And here's the truth. Most people spend their lives trying to run from that. They distract themselves with comfort, with social media, with shallow achievements, anything to avoid sitting with that inner tension. But running never works. Running keeps you trapped. Facing it is the only way forward. It starts with awareness. You have to look yourself in the mirror and say, I see you. I see the fear. I see the self-doubt. I see the parts of me that hesitate, that falter, that hide. That moment of honesty is uncomfortable, yes, but discomfort is where transformation lives. You'll discover that mental struggle isn't your enemy, it's a guide. It tells you what you care about, what you're avoiding, and what you must confront to grow. It tells you the truths that you're too afraid to admit, the truths that are the foundation for real freedom. And here's the kicker. Most people never They see mental struggle as weakness. They see it as shame. But the reality is, facing your inner battles is a form of strength few ever achieve. It's like training a muscle. You can ignore it, and it atrophies. Or you can push through the resistance day after day, and suddenly you realize your mind is stronger, sharper, more resilient than you ever imagined. That strength doesn't just stop in your head, it flows into every choice you make, every opportunity you take, every risk you dare to pursue. It becomes the fuel for everything else in life, including financial freedom. Here's where most people stop short. They don't push past the pain, the anxiety, the mental resistance. They let fear dictate their decisions. But freedom, real freedom, begins when you refuse to let your inner doubts control you. You start making decisions not out of fear, but out of clarity, purpose, and courage. You start seeing obstacles as signals, not roadblocks. You start realizing that the very struggle you feared is actually your most powerful teacher. So, I'm telling you right now, don't run, don't hide, lean into that mental struggle, name it, face it, wrestle with it, because the moment you step into a power most people will never touch. You're not broken, you're awakening. And once you see that, once you embrace it, nothing in the world can stop you from building the life you've always imagined. You cannot achieve freedom if you refuse to confront yourself. Most people think success is about working hard, but the truth is, it's about refusing to settle. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to you every day, stay here, don't risk too much, you'll be fine. And at first it feels safe. Safe in a predictable job, safe in routines, safe in doing what everyone else expects. But here's the problem. Comfort is the silent killer of potential. It's like a slow-moving cage that you don't even realize you're in until years later when you look back and see how much life you let slide away. The world rewards risk, resilience, and those willing to step into discomfort. Settling for comfort keeps you small, keeps your dreams tiny, and keeps your financial freedom locked just out of reach. You have to understand that mediocrity isn't just an outcome. It's a mindset. It's the belief that your best life is somewhere later, somewhere after you've done enough to satisfy others. So, where after everyone else has told you it's okay to stop pushing. But real growth, real freedom, never lives in later. It's in the now, in the choices you make when the easier path calls, when everyone else says, take the safe route. Those are the moments that define your future. The choices that scare you are usually the ones that matter most. Most people get trapped in this cycle because fear disguises itself as practicality. They tell themselves, I can't risk that business. I can't leave this job. I can't invest that money. What if it fails? And of course, failure is real, but what's worse is the slow, quiet failure of never trying at all. Every day you stay in comfort, you're paying a price you can't see. You're paying with lost time, lost potential, lost opportunity, and eventually the cost becomes undeniable. Your dreams, your independence, the financial freedom you imagined, all slipping away because you chose safety over growth. Here's the secret. Discomfort is not the enemy, it's the gateway. It's the pressure that shapes diamonds. Every risk you take, every challenge you face, every moment you push past fear builds a strength that money alone cannot buy. Financial freedom isn't just about numbers. It's about the courage to break free from the cage of comfort, to confront uncertainty with conviction, and to act when most people hesitate. It's the willingness to do what's hard today so you can live what's extraordinary tomorrow. So the question isn't whether comfort feels good. It always does. The question is whether you're willing to pay the price for your dreams, to risk the temporary discomfort for permanent freedom. Because anyone can settle. Few will ever rise. And if you want a life that truly matters, you see, and not settle. Comfort is safe. But safe never changes the world. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't want to hear. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody owes you a comfortable life, a successful career, or financial freedom. You can sit around blaming circumstances, the economy, your upbringing, or even luck, but the reality is the only thing that will change your life is you. Ownership. Radica. L. Unapologetic ownership of your choices, your actions, your mindset. That's what separates people who struggle from people who thrive. Taking ownership doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean you won't fail. In fact, the moment you accept responsibility fully, you invite failure, and you learn to see it differently. Failure stops being a threat. It becomes a tool, a teacher, a signpost pointing you toward what works and what doesn't. When you refuse to blame external factors, when you refuse to let excuses dictate your future, you step into power. And power is where freedom begins. Freedom over your mind, your time, and yes, your finances. Most people live a life of quiet surrender. They say, I can't because, or it's not my fault. And every excuse, no matter how small, is a chai. The problem is, life doesn't wait. Opportunities don't pause for hesitation. Time keeps moving, and every day you refuse to take ownership is a day lost in the struggle that could have been your breakthrough. But when you make a choice, a real deliberate choice to own everything about your life, you start to see how much control you actually have. And that's when transformation begins. Ownership. P also means clarity about your goals. If you want financial freedom, you can't rely on vague wishes or hope someone else will provide for you. You need to know what you want, why you want it, and what steps you're willing to take, even when they're uncomfortable, even when others doubt you. Accountability becomes your most powerful weapon. You are accountable to yourself, not society, not your friends, not the people who never believed in you. That accountability is liberating because it gives you a roadmap, a measure of control, a path forward when chaos surrounds you. And here's the beauty of it. Ownership doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes who you are. It reshapes your mindset from reactive to proactive. You stop waiting for someone to fix your life. You stop hoping or shortcuts or handouts. You start seeing every challenge, every setback, every obstacle as a chance to grow stronger, smarter, and more capable. That's how mental struggle transforms into action. That's how action transforms into opportunity. That's how opportunity transforms into freedom. So stop blaming, stop waiting, and stop hoping. The life you want doesn't arrive by accident. It doesn't come from luck. It comes from the relentless decision to own your life fully, to take responsibility for every choice, and to refuse to surrender to circumstances. When you do that, the doors that seemed locked for decades suddenly swing wide open. You are responsible, you are capable, and you are unstoppable. You can work harder than anyone else. You can take full ownership of your life. You can push through fear and discomfort. But if you don't have a clear vision, if you don't know why you're doing it, all of that effort can scatter into noise. A life without purpose is like a ship without a rudder. You move, but you don't go anywhere. You grind, but you don't grow. And here's the thing. Most people never stop to define that why. They chase money, status, comfort, approval, and when they finally reach it, it feels hollow. That's because freedom without purpose is meaningless. True success comes when you know exactly what you're aiming for and why it matters. Your vision is the lens through which you see the world. It's the filter that turns challenges into opportunities, setbacks into lessons, and small wins into momentum. When your vision is strong, the fear, doubt, and struggle you've battled begin to make sense. They become signposts pointing toward growth. You start making decisions not out of panic, convenience, or comparison, but out of alignment with that vision. Every action has meaning. Every sacrifice has purpose. That's how mental clarity transforms into financial strategy, and how clarity transforms strategy into results. Most people underestimate the power of vision because they confuse it with wishful thinking. A vision is not a vague hope that things will get better. It's a detailed picture of the life you want, with every aspect you can imagine: how you live, who you become, the impact you leave behind, and yes, the financial freedom you aim to achieve. When you define it, you give yourself a compass that guides every decision, every risk, every moment. NT of discomfort. You stop drifting and you start moving with intention. And here's what separates the people who dream from the people who achieve: the willingness to act relentlessly toward that vision even when the path is unclear. You can't wait for perfect conditions. You can't wait until you feel ready. Vision demands action because the world doesn't reward ideas. It rewards execution. Teach. Mental struggles, the doubts, the fear you've been wrestling with, they become fuel, not barriers. They sharpen your focus and test your commitment to the vision you've chosen. So clarity isn't optional. Purpose isn't negotiable. If you want to move from struggle to freedom, you have to define exactly what freedom looks like, exactly why it matters, and exactly what you're willing to do to achieve it. Without that, everything else, discipline, risk-taking, ownership, loses its edge. But with it, even the hardest challenges become manageable. Even the biggest setbacks become stepping stones. Your vision becomes the anchor, the driving force, and the roadmap all at once. Stop wandering, stop reacting. Stop hoping for guidance from the world. Define your vision, embrace your purpose, and let that clarity turn every struggle into progress. Your why is bigger than your fear. You can have clarity, purpose, and vision, but if you don't pair it with discipline, it's all just potential wasted. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and the life you want. And be clear, discipline isn't punishment. It's not about denying yourself or living a joyless life. Discipline is freedom in disguise. It's the tool that allows you to take control of your actions, your time, and your results. It's the reason someone working 12 hours a day with focus and consistency will far outpace someone talented who drifts through life waiting for luck. Most people misunderstand discipline. They see it as restriction, as a set of rules imposed on their life. But the truth is, discipline is what gives you options. It's what allows you to say no to the short-term pleasures that keep you stuck and yes to the long-term actions that make your vision real. It's waking up early when the world sleeps. It's investing when everyone else is spending. It's sticking to the habit that feel boring, repetitive, or uncomfortable, because you know the compounding effect of those choices will define your future. Discipline turns struggle into momentum. It turns pain into progress. Think about it. The people who achieve financial freedom aren't always smarter, luckier, or more talented than anyone else. What sets them apart is their ability to consistently do the small, often unseen, things that others avoid. They resist instant gratification. They embrace routines. They follow through even when motivation is gone. And here's the secret: motivation is fleeting, but discipline is permanent. Motivation will leave you when life gets hard, but discipline will carry you through. That's why freedom doesn't come from passion alone. It comes from consistency, persistence, and mastery. Discipline is also the test of character. It's easy to be disciplined when things are going your way, when opportunities are flowing, and when your confidence is high. But the real work is in staying disciplined when fear shows up, when doubt whispers in your ear, when the mental struggle tells you to quit. That's the moment discipline matters most. It's in those moments that habits are forged, resilience is built, and the foundation for financial freedom is laid. And here's the truth about freedom: it's never accidental. You can't stumble into it. You can't hope it lands in your lap. It comes to the person willing to do what most won't, day after day, with unwavering consistency. Discipline doesn't just create results, it creates identity. You become the kind of person who doesn't quit. You become the kind of person who can take risks, own your choices, and execute on a vision, no matter how big it seems. So stop pretending discipline is restrictive. Start seeing it as liberation. Every habit you master, every small action you repeat, every moment you choose what's hard over what's easy is one step closer to the life you've imagined. Discipline isn't a burden. It's your ticket to freedom. At this point, you've faced your mental struggles, stepped out of comfort, taken ownership of your life, defined your vision, and built discipline. But here's the final truth. None of it matters if you don't have the courage to act when it counts. Fear is the great equalizer. It doesn't care about talent, potential, or even preparation. Fear will stop you from opportunities, whispering lies about risk, failure, and shame. And most people listen. Most people stay small because they're afraid of losing. But freedom, real freedom, requires you to risk what feels safe for what could be extraordinary. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in spite of it. It's saying yes to the opportunities that scare you, yes to the decisions that feel uncertain, yes to the step nobody else will take. Financial freedom doesn't come to those who play it safe. It comes to those who see a chance, weigh it carefully, and move forward anyway. Calculated risk isn't reckless. It's informed, deliberate, and courageous action based on preparation, knowledge, and vision. It's the willingness to step off the edge with a plan, not just hope. Most people avoid risk because they focus only on what they could lose, instead of what they could gain. They obsess over worst-case scenarios, paralyzed by the what-ifs. But the truth is, inaction is often the most costly risk of all. Every day you don't act, opportunities pass, momentum fades, and your freedom slips further away. Courage flips the script. It transforms fear into fuel. It turns uncertainty into growth. It takes everything you've built, the discipline, the vision, the ownership, and multiplies it, opening doors you never imagined existed. And here's the thing about courage, it's contagious, but it's also deeply personal. Nobody can give it to you. You can't borrow it from a mentor, a friend, or even a guide. You have to summon it from within. The first time you take that risk, the first time you step into the unknown, it feels terrifying. But the second time, it feels like power. The third time, it feels like freedom. Courage becomes a muscle, one that grows stronger with every choice you make to move forward despite fear. Here's the ultimate point. Freedom is never given, it's earned. Every struggle you've faced, every habit you've built, every choice you've made up to this point has been preparing you for this. The courage to take action, to step into risk, to invest in yourself and your future is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It's what separates mental struggle from financial freedom. So stop waiting for certainty. Stop waiting for safety. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. It will never come. A step forward, act boldly, and embrace the unknown, because that is where your life transforms. Courage isn't optional. It's your only path to true freedom. Imagine feeling trapped, your mind racing with doubt, fear, and anxiety, every day a battle you didn't choose but can't escape. Now imagine breaking free, not just from those mental chains, but from financial limitations that have held you back your entire life. This isn't theory. This is a roadmap, a blueprint to transform struggle into strength, hesitation into action, and dreams into real, tangible freedom. Today, you're going to discover the principles that turn mental battles into unstoppable momentum, giving you the courage, clarity, and strategy to claim the life you've always imagined.